Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the new TV series, Reacher. Reacher? I hardly know her! Based on the books by Lee Child and brought to screen by Nick Santora, Reacher follows one of the many stories involving Jack Reacher, this time played by Alan Ritchson, who finds himself in a small town and then is immediately arrested for murder. What follows is 8 episodes of action-packed mystery, backstabbing, and drama as Jack Reacher finds himself more entangled with the event than he originally thought. I received a lot of good recommendations for the show from friends and also really enjoyed the 2 movies where Tom Cruise plays Jack Reacher. So I wanted to check this TV show out. So without further ado, let's get into the 6 things that make a TV show great. Number 1, the plot. This TV show takes no time jumping straight into the action as we see the character of Jack Reacher get off of a bus into a small town, walk into a diner, when all of a sudden cops surround this diner and arrest him for murder. We're given the perspective of Reacher as he is trying to figure out why he's being accused of murder and what's actually going on in this small town. As the story unfolds, the police department realizes that Reacher is more of an asset to them than an enemy. There are many twists and turns to this plot, and it makes it really intriguing to watch. My wife and I originally planned on watching just 1 or 2 episodes in an evening and ended up binge watching the entire season over the course of 12 hours. Because it hooks you in and keeps you hooked until the finale. So because of the way the plot was delivered, which was great, plot gets a thumbs up. 2 is family friendliness. Now I know this section of my reviews is the most disputed section out of all of them, but I will say what I said in my Squid Game review, which is almost everything we consume nowadays has explicit content in it. You just have to decide what you're willing to consume for what people say is a good story. That being said, this TV show has the typical things that you'd expect out of a Jack Reacher-based, mature audience TV show. There's plenty of action, violence, profanity, but the 2 things that push this one over the edge for me are some of the very gruesome things done to the victims in this show and the nudity. There's a lot of blood and gore in this show, whether it's someone being shot or someone being tortured, and some of the scenes that Reacher and the police force find themselves coming into are very gruesome and gory. Those things alone would make this TV show not family friendly, but what really bothered me was the nudity. I'm not the only one who holds this stance, but I will just say this for clarification. I believe that many TV shows and movies could film things with the same context and not have nudity in it. And I think that the inclusion of nudity is lazy writing. And in this show, there's both non-sexual and sexual nudity, full frontal male nudity, and full frontal female nudity. And because of how much cinema I have consumed, I know that you can shoot these things in a way where they don't include nudity. And the reason why I'm so adamant about this is because you alienate a lot of your demographic by doing this. But with all of the explicit and gruesome content in this TV show and the 4 or 5 nude scenes that we see, it gets a huge thumbs down. 3 is acting and script. I will say it took me a moment to warm up to Alan Ritchson after seeing Tom Cruise play the Jack Reacher role, but from what I understand, Alan plays the Jack Reacher role to a T. Every character in this show was believable and they played their parts really well. It really seemed like the actors and actresses were giving it their all and glad to be a part of the project. And while Alan Ritchson did a great job playing Jack Reacher, the character that stood out most to me was Roscoe, played by Willa Fitzgerald. She did an excellent job playing her character and had witty lines, witty banter with Reacher, and was a huge part of this show. So both her and Reacher had the best performances in this show. The script of this show was awesome. There's something super satisfying about seeing a character who's basically the love child of Sherlock Holmes and Jason Bourne deliver lines, but it takes a special script to have lines that deliver really well regardless of the actor. And both the story and the interactions between characters were very well written. I found myself laughing, I found myself intrigued constantly, and like I said, we were hooked from start to finish with this show. There was only one moment, one scene where both me and my wife's willing suspense of disbelief was highly challenged because Jack Reacher just forgot how to fight. But other than that, the acting and the script of this TV show were brilliant. So acting and the script gets a thumbs up. 4 is character development. I will admit, having seen the 2 Jack Reacher movies helped my background schema when going into this TV show of the character of Jack Reacher, but this show deserves credit for developing his character really well, even though he's a mysterious person. They do this both through his interactions with other people, but also through a series of flashbacks having to do with his family, his mother and father and brother, and moments in his childhood that helped shape the character of the man that he is today. Malcolm Goodwin does great as Oscar Finley. Kristen Crook plays Charlie, and she literally has not aged a day. That's a break in the Matrix right there. Maria Sten does a great job as Neagley, but the most character development and relationship that you get is between Reacher and Roscoe. And everyone loves a good love story and relationship in a TV show, but they do a really good job of building their characters together, as they both don't really know anything about one another to start, and as they slowly begin trusting each other more and more throughout the show, that relationship builds, and the things they trust one another with build as well. The relationship between Reacher and Finley is also fun to watch on screen in a different way. They bicker quite often, but their relationship is great as well. So character development gets a thumbs up. 5 is CG. This TV show did not rely heavily on CG in any way, shape, or form. There was some CG fire in the final episode that you could very, very easily tell was super fake. There's something about fire and explosions that has movie makers stumped when it comes to making good CG. I don't know what it is. And my wife and I did laugh at that moment, but it didn't take away from the show as a whole. I'm not sure what cameras they shot with to make this TV show, but the scenes were very vivid. The lighting was great, and the camera quality was pristine. So it was really nice to watch. So besides the super fake fire, CG gets a thumbs up. And 6 is rewatchability. This one's tough. I very much enjoyed the story of Reacher that we got to see from this TV show, and a lot of the action and banter and relationships were nice to watch, but because of how much nudity is in this TV show, I have to say I probably wouldn't go back and rewatch it. And that's why especially sexual nudity is such an issue, is because it not only affects family friendliness, but also rewatchability for me and many other people. So while the story was good, the acting was great, it was full of intrigue, even when season 2 comes out, I don't think I'd go back and rewatch this. So I have to give rewatchability a 50-50. After going through all of these categories individually, I have to give Reacher Season 1 a 7.5 out of 10. The acting was fantastic, the story was great, the action and the dialogue between characters was awesome, but the unnecessary sexual nudity really puts this a little bit back. I really wish that they would have had the discretion to not use that in this show, but I guess they just wanted to go all out and in their mind not have anything hold back. As an audience member, you have to know what you're willing to consume in order to see what is a good story. Jack Reacher has a great story behind it, so if you can look past those things, I think Reacher Season 1 might be worth your time. Reacher has already been renewed for a Season 2, and I'm very excited to watch it when it comes out. But until then, thank you so much for watching. If you've seen Reacher Season 1, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your love and support, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one.